Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today let me show you how to make a very deep sump basin. A lot of times we'll come up to a home, even here in Florida, and that footer, that foundation footer is quite deep. And you can custom make one of these, not hard. But also I'm going to show you the proper way to use a sump basin. Just like you, I love to watch videos. Every morning I get up and I watch lots of videos, and they're all about rainwater drainage. And to be honest, I see a lot of misinformation out here about how sump pumps work, how sump basins work. Let me show you the proper way to install and how the sump basin actually works. So this is a piece of 18-inch culvert. This piece laying over here, that's a 12-inch piece of culvert. And by the way, there is no such thing as 6-inch culvert. It's just 6-inch pipe. 6-inch should never be used as a culvert pipe. That's just not big enough, not strong enough. But anyways, this was a 20-foot section, and it's been cut. I'll show you. It's been cut off because we only used 10 feet of it. And you'll notice that it's smooth wall inside. It's smooth wall. And the outside is corrugated. So this is what they call a double-walled pipe. And let's take a look at some measurements here. So this is 18-inch dual wall. In other words, we've got a smooth wall that's inside, see? And then it's corrugated on the outside. Very strong. But just kind of wanted you to see the inner diameter is 18 inches. Okay, so this is called 18-inch culvert pipe. And by the way, there really isn't such a thing as 6-inch culvert pipe. It's just 6-inch pipe. No one would run a culvert with 6-inch pipe. It's much too small. So take a look at the difference. You can see this is a 12-inch culvert pipe, and that's really about as small a piece of a culvert, okay, a true culvert line that you're going to find. There is no 6-inch or 8-inch. 12-inch becomes the smallest culvert. Remember what a culvert is. It's something that is underneath of your driveway. But take a look at the difference in size. We've got an 18-inch, the big one, and then we've got a 12-inch. Look at the difference. That's just huge amount of difference there. Okay, this piece of corrugated culvert pipe, it actually has a bell on it. Makes it really easy for you to make your connections if you're putting more pipe together. We're going to make a measurement from inside where the coupling would stop, which is here. We want to go down 4.5 feet, which is right here, right on this barb, on this piece of corrugated spot. So we're going to use the circular saw. You could use a hacksaw, you could use a jigsaw, you could even use a sawzall, but I'm going to use a circular saw because it cuts it really quick and very easy. So once you find your measurement, set your circular saw up to the deepest depth. This one's 2.5 inches. Should be able to cut through the corrugated and the smooth wall inside. So you can see now we've got a 4.5 foot section of sump basin. We need a bottom. This is just the lid of a regular sump basin, and it just snaps right in place. Show you. And what's really cool about the 18-inch culvert is you can snap a lid right in place and it stays solid. This will be the bottom of the basin. We can put set screws in here to hold this in place, and it's all set to go. Okay, Before we start to set up the deep sump basin, let's go over what a real sump basin is. These are absolutely the best sump basins around. There's so much misinformation about how basins work and talking about sump pumps not running as much, but we'll go over that in a minute. Let me show you what a real basin that you can readily get any place, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, plumbing supplies, and these are standard in the industry, and this is what everyone uses. Okay, so here's our basin that we're going to set up, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. But these are standard basins, and we install a sump pump every day. I mean, every day. These are made by ADS. Let's take a look. They're made by ADS, and these are standard basins. In other words, they fit most every project. They come with nipples on both sides. You've seen me cut these off many times. Usually, this right here is the proper depth. Usually that's the proper depth that you're going to be. But you can always come in deeper. You can see they've got knockouts. You'll also notice that this knockout is not at the bottom of the basin. It has to be up here. The reason why is because when you set the sump pump down in here, you need collection of water. You need a reservoir of that water so your pump does not run all the time. There's all kinds of lids. This one is called a jackal. If you had a basement, you could bring your discharge from the sump pump, come right up out of here, and just go straight up into the rafters above, the joist above, and then go out through the wall up there. And there's also some that are already pre-drilled. The knockouts are already pre-drilled. Easy enough to knock out your own. Again, we are talking about using this for a yard drain. So our discharge is going to come out underground. That means we're going to drill a hole here in the side, wherever, and our pipe is all underground. You don't see anything except the lid. Standard lid. So this is the standard lid, and by the way, this is an extra piece. The basin costs $28, the lid costs $10. So you're going to spend 38 bucks, 40 bucks for your sump basin. But I like to use these. They lock in place. You can see me spin it in place. And then what we do is we just tape around the edge to keep it so no debris can drop down in. And this is all the homeowner sees. That's all they'll see is the top of that lid. We usually leave this lip exposed, so the grade when we backfill, it comes right back up to here. That's where it comes to, and everything's underground. The discharge comes out the side. This is the perfect basin in 99% of all applications. It works great. It works great. But there are times that we need to build and extend a basin. So I'm stepping back so you can see how big this is. This is an 18-inch culvert, and we're 4.5 feet down to where we need to be. So we're going to set this up, and we'll install this tomorrow on our job. Okay, you will need a lid. This is going to be your bottom, and this is going to snap right in place. You can see it goes right in and fits snugly inside of the 18-inch culvert. Then what we're going to do is take a set screw, just a sheet metal screw, or you could even use a sheetrock screw. It doesn't matter. But we're going to go ahead and drill and secure it. And I'm going to put 3 or 4 of them all the way around just to make sure it's secure. You don't need to worry about this being watertight because, again, it's not going to make any difference at all. You could seal up the inside with tape if you wanted, if you want to make it watertight, but letting water drip out the bottom is not going to hurt anything. So I just put 3 screws in here. That's more than enough. And basically this is going to be the bottom of your basin. It's just that simple. So you might ask, why do we need such a deep basin? Why do we need such a deep basin to install? Well, the footer of the home that we're working on is down about 3 feet. So that's somewhere right around here. Our sump basin needs to sit below the footer. Our sump pump needs to sit below the footer. So our pump's going to be down here, but remember, up here is the footer, okay? So we need water to come down, and it'll drop down into the basin and get down into this reservoir down here. And then the sump pump lifts it up and sends it out. So that's how the systems work. When you're trying to achieve more fall in your yard, of course, it's simple. You know, I've been saying this for years and years. Install a sump pump. It's just that simple. You can get as much fall as you need. And you would basically, bring your lines in at whatever level you want. They'll just come into it. You drill a hole in. That's where your pipe comes in. Water goes down to the bottom, and the sump pump lifts it up and sends it out. Same thing occurs on this one. And these are more, pretty much standard. Like I said, 99% of the time, you just need the standard ADS sump basin. And everything's pretty set. I mean, if you're in a basement, that knockout, that's going to be right where it needs to be, just under the floor. And it's just that simple. Okay, I apologize for being all sweaty and hot. It's probably 8:30 in the morning, and it's already 92 degrees. It's quite hot here this time of year in August in Florida, so bear with me. But anyways, so we're going to set up the M98 first, and then I'll show you how things work and why we need to do certain things with this very deep sump basin. It's a little different. But when you get your M98, by the way, these are now available at Lowe's. So I thought they were different, but they are exactly the same. So you could go to Lowe's. I think they're 300 plus, somewhere in there. But when you get your pump in the box, it is heavy. It's about 40 pounds. Pull it out of the box. Pull it out of the box. Keep your box, because inside the box, this is your warranty card. And it's also instructions, but if you read through it, you can see the little barcode. You scan that, you register your pump, and it's got a 3-year warranty. It's manufacturer's warranty. They'll replace it for you within a week. So make sure you hold on to that warranty card. So your pump comes out. They come with a 9-foot cord. If you had a very deep basin, this thing's capable of lifting 25, 30 feet. So if you have a very deep basin, you could call Zoller and actually order a 35-foot cord, or however long you want, up to 50 feet. But these come with 9-foot cords. We start, you can see the threaded port. We start with a male threaded 1.5-inch adapter, and that screws right into the port. You want to put this down on there as tight as you can with your hand. You could put a wrench on it, but it's not necessary. Just as tight as you can with your hand. Next, we cut a small riser, and this we want to get above this protection bar. The protection bar protects the float. You can hear that kicking on and off? That protects the float. So you need just a little piece. And again, if you were in a basement, you could send this way up high and put the check valve exposed above ground. But we are all underground. We're different. We're doing a yard drain, a French drain, a foundation drain. So the only thing you're going to see is the lid. So anyways, we put the small riser on. Next, we need to drill a 3/16-inch hole. And yes, I'm going to glue all this together, but I'm just showing you. We're going to drill a 3/16-inch hole, and it's going to be below the check valve. It has to be below the check valve. If it's up here, then all the water that you're trying to stop with the check valve is just going to leak out. So it needs to be below the check valve. Just a little 3/16-inch hole, and this is a pressure relief. And the pressure relief keeps this pump, it's so powerful that it sucks dry. It sucks it dry. And this pump, the pump is so powerful that you need this pressure relief, because the valve here keeps the water from coming back, but the pump is so powerful that when the pump pit goes dry, it sucks air. So we need the air to blow out, and then it will pull water after that. So this is a 5/16 inch nut driver. Okay, that's pretty standard on all these clamps. These are called no hubs. This is the check valve, and you'll notice that it's got arrows telling you which direction that water flows. Okay, you notice they're pointing upwards. Make sure they point upwards, and then we can install the check valve. It just slides right on top of the 1.5 inch, and you'll tighten that down with your 5/16 inch nut driver. We want to make it just as tight as the drill can make it. Perfect. Next, we tighten these down. That one I've already tightened. This one we're going to leave loose because we're going to add more pipe to this once we find the measurement to come out the side of that pit. So we need to find that measurement before we go any further. But again, you would glue this, and I like to use this Fusion. It's an all-in-one glue. So when you glue it, in fact, I can glue this up. I know this is ready to go. Remember, this is for a job tomorrow, so we're just setting it up a day in advance, save a little time on the job site. Push it, twist it, and hold it just for a second, because it does try to push itself back out. But within just a second, it's solid, it's glued, it's welded on there. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and set this down in the basin and get the measurement for the next riser to come up. And we're also going to tie a rope on to the handle. Make sure you don't tie it onto the bar. You need to tie it onto the handle. That's what the handle's for. You hold it onto that bar, it's going to pull it off. So we'll tie this on. We need that rope because it's so deep down in the pit that if we have to replace the pump, we need to be able to pull that pump out. So that's really that quick to set up your pump. It's not hard to do, and I promise you that you can do this. If you can't do it, you're here in Florida, you're in our service area, of course we'll be happy to come out and help you do that. But you can do this yourself and save a lot of money. Okay, I'm standing up here on the deck because this will simulate how deep this actually is. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this pump and lower it down into the sump basin. Make sure that you do not pull on that cord. I've got the rope on there, and we're just going to lower it right down into the basin. It's deep. Set it down in. You can arrange it wherever you want it at that point. Now we're going to make that measurement. You can see the top of the check valve, the measurement, and we're still going to come out underground. Okay, 2-inch hole saw. Make sure that you've got a deep one if you're going to use a culvert pipe, because these ridges are pretty deep. So we want to make sure we can cut clear through, make sure that it's clean, you have no debris or other uses inside of your drill. And notice that, you know, as installers, we have always carried 2 drills, but this one, you know, always has the 5/16 inch bit, and this one is for the hole saws. Remember, we're also going to cut an inlet line for the footer pipe or the French drain, and it's going to come in quite deep in the bottom, but we won't cut that today because we don't know that exact depth yet. But anyways, right here, remember that we want to be below grade. And you can see it's a nice 2-inch hole right there. And you can see it's a perfect 2-inch hole. Slides right in. It's very tight. No dirt will get in. You could put tape around it, but I never do. It's not going to get anything in it. It's perfect. Now we're going to make the measurement from the check valve to this pipe right here, and we'll be able to get this all set up. I pulled the pump back out, and what we want to do is I want to loosen this clamp up right here, and then we'll put our 1.5 inch riser temporarily in place. Nice and loose. Set our riser. We're going to secure this clamp so that it's nice and tight, and we'll set this back down into the pit, and then we can make the final measurement to the discharge. just as tight as that drill can make it. And it can flop around, it's going to be fine. It's very secure, very secure. Okay, let's set this back down in the pit. Remember that we've got to use the rope. We'll also guide it with this as well. So we set the sump pump down into the pit, and you notice that I already stuck a 90 on here because we want to make this measurement right there to the inside top of that coupling. We can cut that, and then we're ready to glue it all together. So we made our measurement inside. Now I'm going to cut it off. Perfect. We're ready to install. Okay, here's how it sets up. We made a perfect measurement from the top of the check valve, which I tightened that clamp down, brought it up, comes straight into the 90. Make sure your measurement comes to the inside of the coupling, okay? Now, because this is so deep, we need to make sure we have a rope on it. It's tied to the handle down below, so that if we have to pull this pump in the future, we've got a way to do so. Next, the final thing is to put another no-hub here so that you can take this apart and pull that pump. So it's very important to put this no-hub in here. Once the discharge comes out, it'll go, we might use gravity, or it could be straight pump, being the lift station, and just send it wherever we want to go. But nothing's glued together except for the bottom piece, because all this is going to be installed tomorrow, and we'll put it all together, have all the pieces ready to go. Your cord installed, coming up out of the pit, you can see we put the lid on. And remember that grade is going to be right here. So we could cut this off, and we might cut this off around here, but just letting you know, this will be grade right here. You can see the discharge line as it comes out, and this pit's ready to go. We're ready to go ahead and install that tomorrow morning once we dig that, and then we'll go ahead and find the depth of the inlet line, which is going to be somewhere down here deep. That's why we've got such a deep pit, because the footer tiles are very deep on this house. Okay, remember how this is working. We've got, this is the bottom of our basin, and the footer is about right here. We need this much area to collect water, and it has to be below the footer so that our inlet lines can come in at whatever level. We're not going to drill that yet, but you need a 4-inch hole saw, and my guesses are going to be about right here, but we'll wait till we trench all that and install it. But remember, our sump pump sits down here at the bottom. We need an area to collect water. So water comes in, drops down to the bottom of the basin, fills up, and then the pump kicks on. It can't be right down here. It cannot be at this level. The inlet line cannot be at this level. It has to be higher, somewhere up in here. But we've got tremendous fall, tremendous fall. We could add so many things to this, downspouts. Even if that yard came down, down, we could bring it into the sump basin. That's how you achieve fall in the yard. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.